So today we're going to talk about how to deliver an ICS Form 213 that you've received as a radio operator inside of a radio message. That is to say, encapsulated in a radio message. Remember that the ICS 213 is not a transport format. So it needs to be encapsulated or wrapped or contained in something for transport. In the case of a radio circuit where there's going to be relay needed, that's going to be some form of a radiogram. That could be either the NTS RRI amateur radiogram, or it could be the government 16-line basic message. In any case, it needs to be wrapped or encapsulated or contained inside of the format that will be understood by the circuit for transport. Once you've got it at your site, you want to make sure that you do not just throw it at the addressee. You should never do that. Sometimes we have this problem with delivery. With amateur radiograms, somebody will call someone up on the phone to make the final delivery and just start reading talking radio speak. It doesn't work. Relay is a separate process from delivery. We are talking about delivery, that is taking the radio message and putting it back into the form that will be understood by a person. So that ICS 213 needs to be decapsulated, unwrapped, or removed from the radio message for delivery. What you wind up with after decapsulation is something that will be presented to the addressee, delivered to the addressee in such a way that the addressee is able to make sense of it without having to understand anything about the means by which the message was relayed. That's what we do when we're sending email, it's what we do when we're sending a fax, and it's exactly what we as radio operators should be doing when we are there to support someone in an operational role. Now let's take a look at how we actually do that. We'll walk through the process of decapsulation. Stick around.
Black one, black one.
So for the purpose of this video, we're going to assume that you've already got your message, however you get them. In this case, we have two. Let's take a look at the first one, and that's going to be something that we can open up with our text editor, and we see, okay, that looks like it's a 16-line type radiogram, the basic message format. And if we take a look at the second one, again, open it up, it's a plain text file. We can see that the radio message is in the format of an amateur radiogram. So let's go back to our first message. We have a basic message format, a 16-line radiogram, and inside of there is an ICS 213. We're going to be able to reconstruct a 213 in the form of a PDF because that's how we're going to make our local delivery in this case. So we can see clearly which fields these belong to, and we just put them in place and then we save it. The same thing is going to be true with a regular radiogram that we see in the amateur service. There isn't anything special about that. We can just see, okay, how is this being sent to us? Okay, we've got 1R, 2R. Okay, we're using R's instead of the decimal. That is typical for amateur radio traffic nets, and so that's the format that the thing came in, and we can understand this is how we're going to have to put the pieces together. Again, we can fill in the form. What we wind up with then is something that we can see, okay, this needs to be changed a little bit, because not only do we have the message inside of a radiogram, but it has been encoded in such a way that it can be sent over CW circuits, over voice circuits. So things like dot are going to be spelled out. @ will be spelled out. It doesn't really matter whether you are using the 16-line basic message format. If you can, then you're going to gain some features like mixed case, and you don't need to deal with punctuation. On the other hand, you need to know that you're going to be moving that message over a circuit that can handle that format. If you don't have a circuit that can handle that format, if you are needing to use NTS or an RRI circuit, you're going to be using the standard amateur radiogram. You're going to have to do a little bit of extra work when you are encapsulating the 213 into the form of a radiogram. Also, decapsulating the 213 from the radiogram. Nevertheless, competent radio operators can do that job effectively, as we're able to see here. Look at them side by side, and you can't really tell the difference. The only thing that you're going to see is that it's all caps in the case of something that went over a circuit that is not going to be case sensitive. Well, the process is straightforward. It just requires a little bit of understanding of what your role is. It requires a little bit of patience to teach yourself the process, and of course it requires practice to be able to do it well. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please do stick around for more videos, and we will see you in a future.